Hello everyone, today I'm going to be discussing self-esteem. Self-esteem is that one personal characteristic that affects everything about your life. It affects your happiness, your health, it affects your relationships, it affects your professional performance, it affects your bank account. Self-esteem is that important. And by understanding it and understanding how to build self-esteem is the one way to experience transformation from the inside out. Now, my name is Saba, and I produce personal leadership videos that help you go from where you are to where you need to be. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, definitely do so. Hit that subscribe button. And if you feel this video will benefit someone, share this video with them. And if you like the content in this video, do hit the like button. Ultimately, I want to hear from you. I would love to hear your comments, join the conversation on self-esteem. Your views and your opinion on the topic could help somebody. It could help me. But also I want your feedback because it helps me become better in presenting these topics, okay? Meanwhile, I want to jump back to self-esteem. What is it? So self-esteem is a sense of confidence that is derived from self-respect and self-efficacy, okay? The sense of confidence that is derived from self-respect and self-efficacy. What is self-respect? Self-respect is having a sense of that you are valuable, that you are important, that you're worthy. Self-respect is when you have a deep admiration for yourself based on your abilities and your achievement. Okay, think about anybody you respect. You respect that person either because of the position, or you respect that person because of their ability or their achievement. Those three things usually affect respect. And so when you start to have deep admiration for yourself because you feel you are important and you deserve a place in this world, or admiration for yourself because you have certain abilities or because of the achievements that you have had, you are exhibiting self-respect. Now, self-efficacy on the other hand, not on the other hand, but self-efficacy, however, also is this sense of confidence that you have in your ability to deliver positive results, okay? Your ability to deliver positive results, or your ability to navigate through life and meet life's demand is what we call self-efficacy. Okay. Now, when we combine your confidence in your ability to deliver positive results for yourself with the sense and feeling you have in yourself of importance and of deep admiration for yourself because of your achievements or your ability, those two things together give us a certain confidence in ourselves that we can call self-esteem. Okay, so self-esteem can be high, self-esteem can be low. Now, people with low self-esteem will exhibit certain things, and people with high self-esteem will exhibit certain things. A person with low self-esteem cannot take criticism easily. A person with low self-esteem is someone who have negative social comparison. What is negative social comparison? They see other people succeeding, they feel very terrible about themselves. And social media does that to people quite a bit, okay? People with negative self-esteem are also people who have fear of failure. And because of that paralyzing fear of failure, they're the people who will always say would have, should have, could have, and never ever attempted to do the things they've always wanted to do. Okay, these are just some signs of people who have low self-esteem. And also people with low self-esteem usually do not take care of themselves, okay, have poor hygiene, poor health habits, and all of those type of things because they do not value themselves. They do not respect themselves. On the other hand, people with with high self-esteem are people who love to have earnest conversation. They love people to tell them the truth about themselves. Don't beat around the bush. Don't sugarcoat it, but tell me the truth because they're secure and they can handle it. Okay? People will high self-esteem are people who fail forward. They see failure as a part of the process to success, and they learn from failure on their way forward. They are also people who develop very healthy very good health habits. Okay, take good care of themselves, eat right, exercise often, develop very good health habits, so on and so forth. There's so many symptoms that we can outline that just demarcate between people with high self-esteem and people with low self-esteem. Okay, but I'm just gonna stop there for now. You get the idea, right? Now, self-esteem can impact your life in many different ways. A low self-esteem can lead to anxiety, it can lead to depression, it can lead to health problems. Low self-esteem can affect your finances and make you affect your finances. People who have low self-esteem will usually not be financially sufficient or financially stable. They will always have relationship problems. Now, everybody have relationship problems, but I'm talking about intractable relationship problem. Most of the time they can't find a mate because, they just can't find the right one. They're way advanced in age, but they cannot find the right one. And because it may be because of their self-esteem. And then also their professional, it affects their professional life as well, because they're either having poor to mediocre professional outcomes, people who have low self-esteem. So low self-esteem will affect every aspect of your life. Okay, and so by understanding self-esteem, we can be able to change some of these things around. Understanding self-esteem, understanding how to build self-esteem can change your life around. Now, how is self-esteem built? Okay, how is it built? And then we'll go to how is it rebuilt if you are having problems with self-esteem. Self-esteem is built in your environment. Okay, self-esteem is a product of your environment. Now, whether the first kind of environment I really want to talk about is your childhood environment. Self-esteem, primary self-esteem is developed between the ages of from 1 to 7 or 12. 1 to 7, 1 to 7, 1 to 12, 8, 9, 10, let me say this right. Self-esteem is developed between the ages 1 to 7. Okay, sometimes 12, but primarily by 7 is already set. Now, that being said, it means that the kind of people who you look up to in that period have a high impact on whether you develop low self-esteem or high self-esteem. Your parents, the style of parenting, the ability to parent, to provide of parenting, your teachers, your peers that you hold in high esteem. Those people have a way of impacting and shaping the degree of self-esteem that you develop in life. Okay, so that's the primary one, and let's look at it a little bit more. They can all do various things to impact your sense of worth. They can do various things to either affirm your sense of worth or make you feel a diminished sense of worth. They can also do things to empower your self-efficacy, or they can do things to stunt your self-efficacy. Say, for example, a child who grows up in a home where the parents are always calling them stupid rather than saying you've done something that is not wise, but focus more on the child rather than the actions. Okay, you're stupid, you're dumb, always putting that child down and judging that child is likely to grow up with a low sense of self-worth. A child who grows up in a home that has conditional love, that you will only will love you if you bring certain grades home. We only will love you if you always do right. And meanwhile the parent themselves don't always do right. But you live in a household where there's conditional love. It affects your sense of worth. Okay, it makes you feel you do not deserve to be here, and all of that kind of thing. You live in a household where there is always fighting, violence. Those type of things affects your sense of worth. It affects your sense of efficacy. You live in a place where they never trust you with tasks, but they always will tell you what to do every step of the way. So any overbearing parents like those who want to tell you every step of the way what to do rather than allowing you to figure things out and discussing with you ways that you could have done things better and giving you an opportunity to feel your way forward. Okay, but if you live in an opposite household where they have to tell you everything and they have to give their approval for everything, then you are living in a household that you are likely going to have low self-esteem. Okay, and another thing that in parenting that will really give you low self-esteem will be parents who, I know some parents whose children never do wrong. Like they will never allow their children to be accountable for certain things. And that kind of thing will affect your sense of self-esteem. It will affect it real big time. You'll see why when we go deeper into self-esteem. But I want you to just bear in mind that self-esteem primarily is developed between the age of 1 to 7. Some people up to 12, they're still forming their sense of self-esteem, but 1 to 7 primarily. And then there is self-esteem that's developed in a different environment when you're an adult. Your workplace, your relationship affects the kind of workplace and relationship you have, affect your self-esteem. You can have good self-esteem and expose yourself to a wrong workplace, toxic relationship for a long period of time, and that can undermine your sense of self-esteem. You live in a place where you have bosses who want to denigrate you in front of everybody, just embarrass you. You're in a relationship in which you can never do anything to satisfy your spouse, and they want to manipulate you, they want to abuse you and misuse you. Those type of things undermine your sense of worth. Okay, and so toxic relationship is one environment that will do that to you and undermine your sense of worth. So now that we found out how self-esteem is built and where it's built or where it's destroyed, let's look at if you are experiencing low self-esteem. Let's look at how you can be able to rekindle it or develop self-esteem. Okay, how can you rebuild your self-esteem if you had it before and you've lost it, or if you never had high self-esteem before and you want to know a way to be able to build it? These are 8 things you can do to build self-esteem or rebuild your self-esteem. Now, these are things that are already done by people who have high self-esteem, and so it's one of those the egg and the hen kind of thing. Nothing comes before the other. People who have high esteem do these 8 things, and by doing these 8 things, you can also get high self-esteem. Okay, one of those tricky things. But here are the 8 things that you can do to develop high self-esteem. One is you can practice radical self-acceptance. It's very, very critical for you to practice radical self-acceptance, learning to accept yourself just as you are. So important. I have to pause here because, listen, you are the only person who belongs to you. Your children do not fully belong to you. They will go, after you raise them, they will find their way in life, because they belong to themselves. Your husband belongs to himself. He shares himself with you. The only person who truly belongs to you is you. And if you reject you, how can the world accept you? I want you to think about that for a second. So self-acceptance is so key. You have to fully accept yourself just as you are, with your fineness and your flaws, with your strengths and your weaknesses, with your highs and your lows. Accept yourself just as you are. You do not have to do anything else to accept yourself. No prerequisite self-acceptance is what I'm talking about. No pre-requirement. You have to do this to be accepted. No, you do not have to do anything to be accepted as you are. You are what life gave you. You are the cards that life dealt you. Accept yourself as you are. Unless you accept yourself as you are, you will not be able to play those cards well. Let me say that once again. You are the cards that life dealt you. Unless you accept those cards yourself as you are, you will not be able to play the cards well. You have to accept what you are. Self-acceptance is so important. Now, I do not want you to mistake self-acceptance for self-resonation. And this is not to say that accept yourself as you are, flaws and all, and just stay that way. No. You have to accept yourself for what you are while continuing to work on who you want to be, okay? A better version of yourself. Because the truth of the matter is you can never experience transformation if you do not first accept yourself for who you are. Because self-acceptance comes from self-assessment. And knowing who you are, to be able to fully accept who you are, gives you that sense of footing or grounding. It gives you that solid ground to stand on, to be able to launch into the better version of yourself. Learn to accept yourself, okay? Your complexion, your shape, your idiosyncrasies, the way you laugh, the way you do things, your quirkiness. Accept yourself for who you are, because guess what? Your uniqueness adds to the flavor of the universe. I need you to realize that. You do not have to be like everybody else. Your uniqueness adds to the multiple flavors of the universe. Accept that. Embrace that. That's one of the way of adding value to the universe. So first thing is radical self-acceptance. Accept yourself for who you are, okay? Number two, take full responsibility for your life. Number two, take full responsibility for your life. Accept the fact that you must respond to what life brings to you. Accept the fact that you must respond to what life brings to you. No one else must respond to it. You can't blame anybody else to respond to it. You must be the one to respond to what life brings to you, the challenges, the opportunities. You are the ones. If your life will be worse or your life will be better, it's up to you. If you do not own up to that kind of thing, your life will be nothing. So self-acceptance, so taking full responsibility means accepting that particular responsibility, that it is me who have the power to make my life better or worse. I can use that power, or I can abuse that power and make my life worse, or use it and make my life better. Okay? Now, once you accepted that responsibility that it is only you that have the power to make your life better or worse, then you need to determine what abilities you need to develop in order to adequately respond to what life will throw at you, the challenges, the demand, the opportunities, and everything. When you've done that, then you develop, you can put those two together. Response ability means responsibility. Okay, you've accepted that you must respond, and you've developed the ability to respond. You are now responsible. Okay, so responsibility, taking full responsibility of your life is simply refusing to depend on anybody else for the outcome of your life. Okay, well, I would not depend on anybody, not my mama, not my father, not my boss, not my wife, not my husband. I will depend on nobody else for the outcome of my life. I am responsible for my life. And I will develop every capability that I need to be able to respond to the challenges that life has for me, to the demand that life will bring to me. I must develop that ability to be able to respond to it. That's taking full responsibility. Before I move on, let me just talk about certain people who are still blaming their mom or their pop for something they did or did not do 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Listen, get over it. Okay? That was when you were young, you were small, you didn't have the ability to do anything for yourself. Hey, some of your parents did the best they could. Some of your parents were deadbeat. They didn't do what they needed to do. By blaming them, you are holding yourself back. You have grown now. You must not say to yourself now that I can change everything for myself now. Okay? Let me tell you one thing. The hurt of your past is not your responsibility, but your healing today is your responsibility. You cannot wait for the person who hurt you to come and heal you. You have to find healing for yourself. It's your life. They're going on and living their life. What will you do to heal yourself? What will you do to develop that skill or ability that you didn't develop because mommy didn't take you to swimming, or daddy didn't take you to the ball game? Okay, what will you do today to develop that skill that daddy didn't develop? It is your life now, not daddy's life. So it is important. That's what is required when we talk about taking responsibility of your life. Quit blaming other people. Quit looking up to other people to make things happen for you. If you don't get up and do it, it will never be done. Take responsibility for your own life. Number 3, you need to develop a planning habit. Okay? Develop the habit of planning. Develop the habit of planning. Let me tell you one thing. Taking responsibility of your life is one thing. It's responding to what life throws your way. Developing the habit of planning is a next level kind of thing. You can go from responding to designing your life. You can go to responding to life to designing the life that you want to live. And that's what planning allows you to do. Planning allows you to develop the life that you desire. Not just the life that you want, not just any kind of life, but the life that you desire. Planning is so powerful. And so people who, if you will develop high self-esteem, you have to learn to develop the habit of planning. The habit of planning requires 2 things. It requires that you ask yourself, what do you want out of life? What do you want out of this decade? What do you want out of this year? What do you want out of this month? What do you want out of this moment? That's what the habit of planning, the first thing it demands of you. You have to be able to clearly define your vision for your life. Dream big when you do it. Okay, that question of what do you want from life also demands that you answer the question of what is my mission in life? Why did I show up here? What is my purpose in life? Why? What is the reason for me being here? If you take time and you answer that question clearly as possible, it begins to change your life. It begins to change how you feel about yourself. Because ultimately, when you answer that question, life is no longer mundane. Life is no longer wake up, get up, go to work, eat, sleep, and then that's it. It's not any boring existence anymore. Life becomes about something greater. Life becomes about something bigger. You feel connected to something significant. And because of that, it makes you feel significant. So that's the first question that planning requires that you answer. You have to answer the question of what do you want out of life? And what do you need? What do you want? That's how you create phenomenal life. Desire is how you create phenomenal life. The second question that planning requires that you answer is what do you do to achieve that thing that you want out of life? So planning is not just, just sitting down and just writing a bunch of, goals and stuff. But it comes down to strategy. It comes down to action. It comes down to habits that you have to develop to be able to take you to that dream that you dream for yourself, or that big vision that you've casted for yourself. Okay? What do you have to do to ultimately achieve that vision? Okay, now that's what planning does for you. And you can see how by doing that, like I say, it connects you to something greater than yourself, more significance for yourself. It imbues significance within you. But it also helps you to become intentional about life. So you're not just blown about by any kind of wind, but you're intentional about life because you have a clear direction that you are going in. Very important that you do that. It boosts your self-esteem when you learn to plan about this moment, this month, this year, this decade, this life. When you plan for these things, it changes your self-esteem to a higher level. And fourth thing is you need to learn to be assertive. Okay? You need to learn to be assertive. Assertiveness is the language of people who live intentionally. Okay? Assertiveness is the language of people who live intentionally. By being assertive, we're saying that you're learning to communicate your desire in very effective way. You're learning to communicate your desires in very effective way. You are not being passive, that is timidly keeping your desires in your heart because you're afraid of what people will say or do. Neither are you being aggressive, fighting everyone just to get what you desire, but you form a more professional, you form a more sweet middle way of expressing it in such a way that you're clear about what it is you want, and other people's dignity remains intact as well. You are balancing courage with consideration. You are moving forward and expressing yourself with courage, but you're expressing it in such a way that you're taking other people's feeling into consideration. Very mature way of conducting yourself, very mature way of communicating. But that's what people with high self-esteem do. And as you learn the skill of assertiveness and you learn to exercise assertiveness, it boosts your self-esteem. You're no longer letting people take from you things that are yours, but you are always stepping up and asking for it as well. But you're also not going around and fighting everybody for everything, but you're stepping up and effectively communicating what it is you want, and you're able to walk away with it. Why? That person is respected in the process. Okay? Learning to be assertive will help your self-esteem. But we also want to make sure that in addition to learning to communicate in an assertive manner, that you also are learning how to keep your personal commitment to yourself. Keeping your personal commitment to yourself is really, really something really important, because nothing says self-respect than respecting yourself to do what you said you would do. If somebody who you admire really greatly asks you to show up for a meeting tomorrow, you'll move heaven and hell to be there. Maybe your idol, some entertainer, big time entertainer, or maybe a presidential candidate, or your mentor that on the world stage sees you one day in the street and says, "Come tomorrow, let's sit down and talk." You move heaven and hell to be there. Why? Because you have a deep sense of admiration for this person because of their achievement and because of their ability. If you can do that when other people call or when other people instruct you, why can't you do it for yourself? Why can't you respect yourself to listen to your own advice? Why can't you respect yourself to listen to your feelings? Why don't you respect yourself to follow your own instruction? Why don't you respect yourself by doing the things that you said you need to do? Keep your commitment to yourself. Okay? Of course, keeping your commitment to yourself require you being responsible in setting commitment. Okay, keeping your commitment to yourself, being responsible in making commitments. So you're just not making frivolous commitment all over the place, a whole list of commitments, and then you can't keep any. You have to be responsible in doing so. Right now, so another thing that number 6 on the list of things that will give you self-esteem is practicing positive social comparison. Now, we talk about negative social comparison. You see other people result and it just makes you jealous or it makes you feel bad about yourself. Positive social comparison has to do with when you see other people succeeding, their success inspire within you the ability to succeed. Okay, like if that person can do it, I can do it too. Maybe there's somebody like you, maybe your age group, maybe your peers, and they're doing something you've always wanted to do. And because you see them doing it, it inspires you to be able to say that I probably can do that too. That boosts your self-efficacy. Okay. Number 7 on boosting your self-efficacy and what boosting your self-esteem is learn to encourage yourself. You got to learn to encourage yourself. The world is a very discouraging place. Your results, your conditions, people around you will always look for ways to say you cannot do it, will always look for ways to say we told you so. But you have to look yourself in the mirror every morning and say you can do it. You can make it. Keep going. You have to learn to encourage yourself in time of discouragement, because what this does is it lifts up your spirit and it gives you the ability to succeed yet another time. And little success after little success will continue to build your sense of self-efficacy. Okay? Encourage yourself. Anytime you are discouraged, find encouraging words that you will say to someone who's discouraged. Say those words to yourself. It builds you up. It lifts up your spirit and it keeps you going. And when you keep going and you keep succeeding, your sense of self-esteem is boosted. Okay? Last and not the least, you have to learn to manage your emotion. You gotta learn to manage your emotion. It's very, very important that you do that, because here's the thing, negative emotion will erode your sense of self-esteem. Okay? Always having negative emotions, just feeling very bad, feeling bad about yourself, feeling bad about life. Those kind of things will make you feel like you're not worthy. Those type of things will make you feel as though you cannot do it. And it will just make you feel overwhelmed. It reduces your sense of self-esteem. But if you learn to allow more positive and allow more positive emotions. Positive emotion will boost your sense of self-esteem. Anything that positive vibes. If you learn to just allow more positive vibes and disallow negative vibes in your life, it will boost your self-esteem, because you start to, any feeling that makes you feel like, man, you can do it. Yo, that was great. You just did amazing. Any feeling that makes you feel that way, you need to encourage such feelings, because what such feelings will do is that such feelings will boost your sense of self-esteem. Okay, so those 8 things will always, if you write those things down, if you learn to kind of practice those 8 things will begin to help you develop a sense of self-respect. It will help you develop a sense of self-efficacy, and together those 2 things will boost your sense of self-esteem, and you will feel better about yourself, and that will affect your happiness. It will affect your health. It will affect your relationship. It will affect your professional life. It will affect your bank account. Listen, tell me what you feel about this video. Share it with anyone who you feel needs to hear it. Like it, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Thank you. We'll see you on the other side.